Money mindset in nonprofits, 3 unhelpful thoughts about money that I want to talk to you about today. So, when you started or joined your nonprofit, you were probably dreaming about making a change in this world and about making this world a little bit better. And in reality, it might be that you realize that you're actually spending a lot of time and a lot of thoughts about money, worrying about money, thinking about how can we get money, how can we get enough money to do the things that we need to do, actually, right? And here's one thing that I want to highlight straight away: the word enough. The word enough is very often associated with lack of, not having enough, with scarcity, with the thought that if someone else has that money and we don't have it, we have a lack. And so thinking about it as money that needs to move from somebody, needs to be taken from somebody and given to us, right? So it's all about win lose situations and the feeling that we need more, we don't have enough, and we deserve more. And this is creating a lot of unhelpful thoughts and behaviors in nonprofits that I want to talk about today. So the good thing about enough is that when you think about it, it isn't really some kind of fact, right? It is very subjective. It's almost like an opinion or a feeling, because what is enough for me might not be enough for my neighbor. What is enough for me now might not be enough for me in 10 years from now, or vice versa. What is enough salary for one person might not be enough salary for another person who lives in completely different circumstances. And the same is true for nonprofits, right? What is enough for one nonprofit who's at the starter phase might not be enough for the same nonprofit 5 years from now, when they are have grown a lot and are doing 10 times more activities and operations, right? So it's all about your perception and your feelings. What is enough, and your situation, what is enough. And the good thing about that is that if it's a subjective thing, if it's an opinion or a feeling, if it's something that we tell ourselves as a story, then it's also something that we can change by telling ourselves different stories and getting different kinds of thoughts about money. That's what I want to talk to you about today. So, one of the very unhelpful thoughts that I see a lot in nonprofits, and I have had it also, I told you about it before, is that when we are very desperate to get money to keep going, maybe we are facing a funding gap or something like that, then we start thinking like, we're doing good things, we deserve this money, they should give us that money. And that might be even something that we express in our conversations with potential donors or existing donors, right? We might say, like, we only need a little bit of money, it's not much for you. You have that money. You must give it to us, right? I've been saying such things before. I told you about it in another video, and maybe you have done the same. And if you have done that like me, then you know that this is the best way to chase your donors away, right? They might give you a small amount just to get rid of you because they feel pressured. But after that, they will do everything they can to avoid you like the plague, right? They will not answer their phone, they will not read your emails, they will try not to meet you, and they might even start talking to other people about their bad experience with you. That's not what you want, right? Because we were trying to get money. We don't want to chase away people who could give us money, and we definitely don't want them to chase away other people that we haven't even spoken to ourselves, right? So the thing here is that the mindset that the donor has money that you are entitled to is a mindset that you need to change, right? It's not about taking something from them that is rightfully yours. First of all, it's rightfully theirs. It's their money. They can decide how they spend it. But what you're doing is actually not even asking to take something from them. You're offering them to invest in making their dream come true, the same dream that you have in your vision and mission and value statement. And so they can invest in your work and make their dream and your dream come true. right? If you talk about it like that, it's not about taking things from them, but it's about giving something to them. It's not about going to their home and pointing at the TV, the books, the furniture, the jewelry, and saying like, that's mine, I deserve it more than you do, give it to me. No, we're saying like, you're good the way you are. I have something to offer you. I know that we have this shared dream, and we are looking for people who can help us work on implementation of activities so that we can make that dream come true, right? That's a different mindset, a whole different conversation. So, especially when you feel stressed about money, try to take a step back, try to laugh at yourself that you're not going to take away their TV, but start thinking about the shared dream and the offer that you're making them, which is a great offer, right? They don't need to do the hard work. They can just invest in your work. You'll do the work, and their dream is also one step closer to realization. That's the first thing I want to highlight about unhelpful thoughts about money in nonprofits. I'm Susanne Bakker. I'm a nonprofit operations strategist, and I love talking about money, admin, finance, HR, contracting, fundraising, project design, and more. If you like listening to those stories, you can subscribe to my channel and get a new video every week and be notified about that. If you're more of a reader, you can follow the link below this video and subscribe to my Monday and Thursday stories about nonprofit operations topics. So let's dive back into money mindset and the word enough. So the word enough is also used a lot when it comes to nonprofit people's salaries, right? Very often in the outside world, people seem to think that people working in nonprofits can do this for free. I don't know why they think that, because who can live for free? Nobody. But anyway, a lot of outsiders seem to think that nonprofit people don't need to be paid a salary. And maybe if they get a salary, then it shouldn't be really like high. Yeah, and that's also something that not only people outside your organization are thinking, but I bet you that there are also people inside your organization thinking that way, thinking like, yeah, we're doing good work. We can't take away a lot of money from the good work and keep it for ourselves for salaries, right? That's also a thought that's happening a lot. And those thoughts, the external thoughts and the internal thoughts, make it very difficult for you when you're trying to talk to donors or making a project proposal with a budget to really ask for money for salaries, right? Because it's a little bit sensitive, it might be controversial, you don't feel comfortable asking for high salaries and whatnot. And this is hindering you from making a good estimate of the work needed to be done and the appropriate compensation for that work that's going to be done by your team and maybe people that you hire as contractors. And so what I want to say about this is that the community that you're serving, the cause that you're serving, deserves to be supported in the best possible and most professional manner. Your donors expect you and require you to handle projects, people, and money professionally. In order to meet those needs for professional conduct of your nonprofit team, you need to have people on your team who are professionals in their field, people who have expertise, education, knowledge, experience to make them professionals in the work that they're doing in your nonprofit. And professionals deserve to be compensated accordingly, right? That's for you, but also your team members deserve to be compensated with a decent salary for the professional job that they're doing. So that's super important to keep that in mind, that if people are expecting professional nonprofit work, then you cannot hire, let's say, monkeys to do the work. You need to hire professionals. Yeah, professionals need and deserve actually a decent salary. That's one thing. The other thing, when you're thinking about talking about salaries and asking money and knowing that actually part of that money in some cases a big part of that money goes for salaries, might make you uncomfortable, might be making it harder for you to ask. And then I would like to remind you that actually you're not there to ask for salaries. You're there to ask for an investment in an impact. And you're saying like, okay, we need this amount for making this kind of impact in this period. And here are the things that we need to pay for in order to have that impact. And part of the things that you're paying for is actually not a thing, it's people, it's time, right? It's experience, expertise, professionalism that you're paying for, whether they are on your payroll or externally contracted. Yeah, so keep in mind that people deserve a decent salary, and you're not actually even asking for a salary, you're asking for an investment in the impact. And that might make it easier if you see yourself and your team as a tool to create impact instead of like somebody saying, oh, I need a salary, can you pay please for my salary, right? That's also not really what you're asking, even if it feels like that's what you're asking. So try to turn that story around in your head and go back to what we spoke about before, thinking about the impact where your dream and the donor's dream are aligned and where you are offering them an opportunity to invest in making that dream come true or a little bit closer to coming true. So that's what I wanted to say about salaries. And now I want to know, what are unhelpful thoughts about money that you have? How does money or thinking about money make you feel uncomfortable? Or what is difficult for you and your nonprofit when it comes to money? Please tell me in the comments below. I'm really curious to hearing that from you. Another unhelpful thought that I know around money is that nonprofits tend to think like, we don't have enough, we can't do everything that we need to do, we can't do good quality things, we can't do this or that because we don't have enough, right? The first thing I want to say is, enough is an opinion. You can get creative and you can find other ways to deliver good quality results and have great quality activities with a little bit of money and maybe a lot of creativity with volunteers and in-kind contributions and the like. But of course, I know you need money to do things. You need, in the end, money to pay professional staff to do a professional job and to get better quality impact for your community who deserves that, right? So let's take another step looking at money and enough and not enough. So here I would like to share that I've seen a lot that organizations are asking out of a feeling like we have a lack of money, we need more money, we need a lot of money. What is a lot of money? $1 million, that's a lot of money. And then they ask for $1 million for a grant, for example. But when you start looking at what they're actually doing right now at the moment, they have like projects that are maybe $10,000. And maybe in a year they can handle like $20,000, right? So if you submit a proposal to a donor for $1 million and they can see that you're actually handling like 20,000 a year, then they will say, I'm not sure I can trust that, right? I'm not sure that they're able to absorb and to manage and to handle properly $1 million just coming from 20,000, right? And actually, that's the fastest way to also chase people away as a potential donor, because they will decline you and they might not be inclined to start talking to you about, okay, how about 50,000, right? So over asking is actually creating bigger chances for rejections for your organization's proposals, and that's what we don't want, right? We want to get money in so that we can do the things to make this world better. And then indeed, in the case that I described, it might be more realistic to ask for 50,000, 60,000 perhaps, instead of going to 1 million right now, right? And then it might feel like, yeah, but 60,000, it's not so much. 1 million is more, and of course it's more. And it might start feeling like it's not enough. It's not so much, it's not enough. We have still a gap, we have a lack, we feel scarcity, and you might go down feeling very negative about it, in fact, right? You start thinking like, oh, even if you get it, that it's really nothing and that it's not going to help you a lot. And here I would like to invite you to look at yourself and to think about where are we now in terms of money? What are we able to handle? What are we doing? How big are we, etc.? Where do we want to be in 5 years from now? And what are the growth steps that are that we would like to see in between so that we can get to that stage where we want to be in 5 years from now, right? And then to look at what does that mean for this year? How can we grow a little compared to where we are now and be on our way to meeting that ambition for 5 years from now? And then maybe you can start feeling like, actually, for now, 60,000 ain't bad. 60,000 is bigger than what we had. We are growing, we are on our way to our ambition of the impact that we want to achieve in 5 years, and we can do a great deal of things with this 60,000 right now. Right now, this is enough. This is okay for us, and we are grateful, right? That could be a helpful thought when you start thinking like it's not enough, we can't do all the things. When you start realizing that all the things might not be possible for you to do now, but if you are intentional about it, it might be possible for you to do those things 5 years from now, even with that million, right? So how does this feel for you now? Does this feel like a helpful thought, looking at where you are now and your growth path, your roadmap to growth, and feeling that what you have or what you can apply for right now might be enough for right now? Let me know in the comments if you can. And then join me in my next video where we're going to be exploring a little bit more about helpful thoughts about money and handling money panic. See you then.